Hopefully I can delete this part later, but I really don't care. Because I'm
One of
trying
the
to
best
be
parts.
different. I don't know why you have a little echo to you, but it's all good.
Oh Lord.
Yes? You called me? A little echo to you, but it's all good.
Oh Lord.
Yes? You called me? All right. I can hear you clear as day, and I can see you as clear as day, so we
Yay.
are good to go. All right. Hey everybody, welcome. It's been a minute, but it's been a long time since I left you without beat step two, so we're back. I'm still getting new things rearranged, and working on my camera, working on my lighting, um, working on how I'm bringing in the sound, but we're gonna figure that out as we go along. As always, this is
Yes.
locked and loaded, where we keep it locked with information for you guys dealing with anything and everything dealing in the world of whatever the hell we see. As always, my co-host, who you could tell who just got home from his real job and didn't take the time to change because he's not wearing one of his anime shirts. This is Jay. Oh wait, what's the tie?
It's just design. It's just
Mm.
random design.
I thought
I
it was going
know.
to be something like, this is from this show that I've been watching, and this is what we're going to be talking about. This no, okay, sorry. Is there something on the hat at least? What is that? Batman? Looks like a bat with a man on it. Okay. All right. Well then, let's get it on and popping, Javis. There are so many things that we need to talk about because it's been a long time. But how long do I have you till? Right now, the current time is 7:58. When do you have to leave?
You got me until 8:45.
Mm. So he really doesn't care about his people. I'm just letting you know. No, I'm just playing. All right, so if we got him from now until 8:45, we're just gonna do one long show and just keep it going. So
Perfect.
I'm gonna start with something, and then you can start with something next, and we can just go back and forth.
Okay.
First thing I want to say is I want to go all the way back in time to when we talked about Power Rangers.
Okay.
The Power Rangers, what was it called? Because I gave it the wrong name when I did it.
Oh my God. Even I have to look it up now. Power Rangers.
Once and
It's like
always and
once
forever.
all
This
once
time
and
and
always. I only know this because it's the screensaver to my phone. I don't know. You guys can't see it, but
no, because we don't want to see what your real room looks like. So don't turn that off.
real room. I'm in my studio apartment. I have no idea what you're talking about.
My bad. It looks amazing. I don't know how many people's houses it looks exactly like that with the same brown pillows, but yeah, that's
Oh
awesome.
God. Yep.
So, Power Rangers is once and always. Somebody said something that really blew my mind about it, and it says, "If you think of this, then go back and watch it and tell me what you think." And they said this, and it just stuck with me. It says that whole entire Power Rangers movie thing, whatever you want to call it, was done in 12 days
Really?
from beginning to end. That's I think it's pre-production, production, shot everything, edited everything, done, out, ready for Netflix. 12 days.
That's insane.
So now, when you know that a production like that, they do an episode, it takes them 1 week to do one episode. They did a movie in 12 days. I even think it may even take longer than a week to produce an episode, maybe like maybe even a couple of weeks. But knowing that that it was done in 12 days because of such a low budget, but they said yes to it anyway. Does that change how you feel about anything dealing with that show? Because it does for me.
For me, it doesn't really change anything other than it makes me appreciate it more. It makes me because I'm not going to go into detail, but you, I think it was, sent me a text message the other day about, and it was a TikTok talking about how the visual and special effects of movies is not what you think it is. When you think it's crappy, it's literally because they're giving them such harsh deadlines and they're not really putting as much into it as we sometimes think that they are.
Hmm.
And so to know that everything that goes behind something that's so crazy, and to know I had so many favorite moments So one of the things that you can say what you want about the storyline, you can say what you want about the acting, but one thing that I have noticed from watching other people's reactions and going into forums and reading what people think about it is the special effects were on point. Which was crazy. The way that they morph, the way that they move from one area to another is updated from when they used to do it, and it didn't give everyone a cringe feel of they got to work on that. They're like, actually, I really enjoy. They enjoyed the moments where they were morphing and it was right in front of your eyes. They enjoyed the moments and those moments, and even though we all know it was some crazy CGI for the Zords to fight. It was also everyone was excited about the update, which was the fact that they can now fight anywhere, and it doesn't look like two people in a suit. They actually enjoyed the fact that it was not that. So there's a lot of things that people gave their thumbs up on with this special, and to know that they did all of that in 12 days, I can't imagine the madhouse it was to piece that all together. But it makes me super happy. But most of all, it makes me want to give them the budget. It makes me want to give them the time to do a year's worth of whatever they can. Whoever pieced this together, all of the minds that put this together, it makes me want to give them a big budget and see what the heck they could do with it.
Do you think they're going to do it again?
I hope so. I mean,
So, have you got any information on how well it did, how well it was received, if they're gonna
I
things that
mean
need to
the
check?
we both know how Rotten Tomatoes scores things. We both know how the internet's meta, I think it's called meta something, meta score or something like that, that it gives them online. Joe, this special scored higher than some of your favorite movies. It just blew everything out of the water. I think that people's expectations of this was really low, and the fact that they did anything, it made a lot of people cry. It made a lot of people very emotional because of Tommy and Tui, Tommy and Trini characters, and Jason David Frank and Tui Trang, them actually passing, and the fact that they talked about Tui Trang's actual passing, and actually wrote her character off. Um, they wouldn't touch this subject for damn near 20 plus years. They would not touch this subject. And the fact that they're finally speaking about it, I think the emotional heartstrings were pulled, and people want more of that. They want real, sincere storylines from Power Rangers, and
They
not,
got a 76%.
yeah,
Wow.
yes.
Well,
There, there's a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows out there that we would consider our favorite stuff that doesn't even touch a score like that. And I was
Speed Racer.
one of my favorite movies. Oh my god! And so because of that, I think that they will do another one. I hope that they are able to get everyone on board. The Pink Ranger, I saw her this past weekend. I wish I could put the photo up in the thing, but I saw her. It was
Jay, there's
very
been a lot of Pink Rangers. You got to be way more specific if you're going to talk about a Pink
the
Ranger.
the original Pink Ranger, Amy Jo Johnson. I
Oh.
saw her this past weekend. It was very different. Although I did get a chance to speak with her, um, it was very much moving along. I think that I don't know if she's avoiding questioning, but she does not. She's not giving anybody a lot of time to ask her about this special. And that's my biggest thing is I know someone had to approach the question. I want to know how she reacted to it. I don't want people to ask her that because it's very rude. She has her reasoning for why she didn't do it, you know. But I really want to know why, man. I really want to know why. But yeah, I saw her. It was a great time. I'll get into that when I get to my thing. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for the future. If David Yost, if oh my god, I forget his name all the time, but the dude that plays Zach, because he'll always be Zach in my mind. If they want to continue to do it, if the Red Ranger, Rocky, you got what's her face? I forget the Pink Ranger's name. The next Pink Ranger. If she wants to do it, if they're down for this, give it to them. You already see the Power Ranger fans are going to come out in droves. If they do a
Yeah.
series, it's going to be watched on YouTube. The reactioners are going to watch it, which means that their fans are going to watch it, which means that if there's a place for it, I hope that they know that there's a place for this. And yeah, I hope they keep giving it to us with Hasbro on board, with Hasbro having the rights to Power Rangers. I think it's a new day for Power Rangers.
No day but today. Okay. I feel the same way. I'm actually really more. I've give it more love than I did before. My love for it was just very upsetting because in my head I'm like, you had the time and money to do this, and this is what you gave us, and now I realize no, you did not have the time, nor did you have the money, but you still decided to give us something. That changes a lot about how you feel about someone. It's kind of like whether, I don't know, maybe an example would be like a parent and a child. Like the child is upset because they didn't get the birthday party that they wanted, but find out later that the parent was like struggling in such a way and they didn't understand what struggle is, but they were able to still give them a birthday. It wasn't a party, it was a cake from like a giant store or a home baked store bought cake. It was all the love that they can put in with what they had, but they felt it wasn't enough. Only to find out later on, okay, that was all they could give, and they gave all of it. And that's literally what this Power Rangers was. They gave all of what they can give. So I'm like, if they can do that on a 12-day budget, then the possibilities are very endless on what they can do for future things. So I'm glad we're on the same page about that. Do you want to talk about your experience at AwesomeCon right now, or do you want to go to another subject first?
Oh my gosh. I do want to talk about it just a little bit. If you have some other crazy stuff, then I'll be brief. But if you don't have a lot of stuff, then I would like to talk about it. Number one is just the fact that conventions, Awesome Con's light has not been dim, but um, it's oh, you brought it up. Thank you so much. This is awesome. Yes, she was absolutely incredible. I went and saw Amy Jo Johnson. The second time I've met her. And she spoke to me. I was just like I was being ushered along, but as I was being ushered along, I was like, I love you and Felicity. It was really great. She was like, oh my god, thank you so much. You're really sweet. I was like, thank you so much. So it was fun though.
Well, let's break it down to. I want to because it's someone that this famous and you have met a lot of them. Let's just go backwards in time to the you're in line. All right, it's your turn. Exactly what happens in a situation like
Okay,
this.
so very different than the first time I met her. So when I approached the booth, there was a lady. It looked similar to her, so I didn't know if she was related in any way or anything like that. So the lady started speaking to me, and mind you, at this point in time, if you have a celebrity that you are dying to see, your heart's racing because they're less than 5 steps from you. So Amy is with someone else and speaking to them. I'm speaking to the lady before and taking the payment. So it was $50 to get this picture. You could do
Okay.
$50 for a picture, or you could do $50 for a signature. Or they had a deal. They would you could pay $80 for both. And I decided to do $50 for the picture because the picture lasts. It just lasts longer in my head. A lot of people wanted an autograph. Some people wanted both. Then some people just wanted the picture. I just want the picture.
Not to cut
Yeah.
you off, but they use your phone to take the picture.
Yes. Um,
And then the other thing is, if you wanted a signature, did you have to provide a photo, or she had a
Well,
photo?
that's the thing. I mean, seeing celebrities like this, it ain't cheap. So if you did not have your own item, they had pictures that you could buy right there, or you could bring your own item and she would sign that herself. Um, And so
Got it.
yeah, so she had some Pink Ranger, really nicely done. I mean, if you were gonna buy one of her pictures at the booth, they're really great quality pictures of her as the Pink Ranger. The
Did you see the pricing on
I
those or
did
no?
not see the pricing on those.
Okay.
My heart was racing and my mind was gone, and I knew I just wanted the picture, so I didn't even propose the question. Um,
Well, they don't like proposals, so continue.
we have our own story about that.
I love you. Will you marry me? No. Next.
Next, indeed. So I, I at this point in time, that was the funny part though, because the girl, the not girl, she's grown ass woman. She tears off. She writes a number and a letter on a piece of paper. It looks like a sticky note, and she tears off that piece and just gives it to me. So I have this scrap of sticky note in my hand that has a letter and a number. So then I'm walking up to her, and I'm just as I'm walking up, I'm just like, I have no idea what to do with this. And so I'm walking up to Amy, and she has a friend or one of her workers that's with her, and that girl is taking pictures for everyone. So she'll take your camera, take the picture, and then give it back to you. She'll take a couple with your phone, and then give it back to you.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
they
ask.
take like
Okay.
2 to 3. And so but then I walk up and I was just like, the first words out of my mouth, which I didn't want this. I'm like, why did this have to be? So the first words out of my mouth when I walk up are, they gave me this. I don't know what to do. She was like, yeah, I take that. And I was like, oh, okay. So she takes the letter and the number and she sets it aside. And I was just like, yeah. And so I hold up my phone. She was like, yeah, and she's going to take your phone. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I give it to her. And so she was just like, all right. And then turn around and just look at the camera.
Oh, Amy said
Yeah,
that to
Amy's
you.
talking to me at this point. So yeah. So
Oh,
she's
okay.
like, yeah, just give that to me. I take that. And she was like, and just look over at the camera. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I turn and then we make the pose and then we take the picture. And she was like, all right, thank you so much. And I was like, okay. And then that's when I was just like, hey, I absolutely loved you in Felicity. I thought you were really great in it. Great in it. It was a great performance. And she was just like, oh, thank you so much. You're really sweet. And at that point in time, they're ushering me along. And so yeah, so it was very brief. It wasn't like when I met the other Rangers who were very talkative and very willing to have a conversation. Uh,
Yeah, you got the boogie with the bear, right?
yes, I got Karen Ashley, who is just a beast. I love this woman. And I met Karen Ashley, David Yost, and the gentleman that plays Zach. And I met all three of them on the same day. And when I tell you every single between all three of them, I was probably there for like 20 plus minutes. Because I met one and then they were talking to me, and then I met the other one and then they were talking to me. How are you enjoying the convention? What do you like about it? Like, I told Karen Ashley because I was a member at the time. I was a member of her fan club, the Boogie with the Bear fan club. So I was just like, hey, I'm a member of the Boogie with the Bear fan. She was like, oh my God, you are. Take this card, blah, 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 blah. We're doing great things. You should check the web. And so it was a full on conversation. It was not, yeah, Amy not doing all that. She's not doing it.
Did she seem happy being there?
Somewhat, yeah. You can never tell when it comes to the celebrities you meet because you don't want to say that the reason that their energy may have been down was because they didn't want to be there. Because at the time that I went to go see her, she had been doing this 2-3 hours. So,
Okay.
she could have just been tired at that point in time, and she had to go from taking pictures to they did a panel. I didn't get to see her panel. They did a Q&A panel with her. And then she went right from that Q&A panel back to taking pictures. So she was there
Okay.
2 hours for pictures, 2 hours for the panel. I would say about an hour for the panel, and then 2 more hours. So 5 hours straight. I don't think this woman took a break. And
So she had to
yeah,
pee.
basically. So
If they don't let me go to this bathroom, I'm gonna stop being Pink Ranger. I'm gonna be Yellow
yeah.
Ranger.
And I'm just like, yo, this woman she's hard working, I'm telling you. But I just enjoyed it. And let me tell you something else about the Power Rangers experience. Not just her, the fans in line were incredible. Just speaking with them, just hearing them speak to each other. I walked up and I was in line, and there was a dad and two of his daughters who looked to be about older teens, somewhere between 17 and 20, I would say. Um,
Hmm.
and I didn't know what to do. This is my first time. I hadn't been to one of these in years, since before quarantine. And so I walked up and I was just like, "Hey,
Oh my gosh, we can actually start saying BC for
yes,
that
we can."
before COVID.
I didn't think about that, yo, because that's what I wanted to talk about. There is a BC for AwesomeCon, and I bet there's a BC for every convention, because this was not the same convention I've been to.
Oh wow! All right, so we're gonna piggy off Amy Joe. Amy Joe, thank you for spending time with us. We really appreciate you coming out. So now we're gonna go back to the regular thing, which is like you talking about AwesomeCon.
Yes.
So explain AwesomeCon AC after COVID compared to AwesomeCon BC before COVID.
Oh, it's very different. It's still enjoyable. Um, because the people make it enjoyable. But if you're just talking the convention itself, it's a very different experience. Well, number one thing that I found out was the fact that I had to buy my ticket at the door. The ticket at the door was never as much as it was this time around. If you pre-order your ticket to AwesomeCon, it's somewhere between, depending on how early you get it, it's somewhere between 70 to $80 for 3 days, which is understandable. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go up to the door, because now, if you pre order your badge, you have to go to a pickup location to get it. I believe there may be a time period where they might send it to you. They used to just send them out before, but now after it sits like 3-4 months before the convention, you have to go get your badge, and they have pickup locations.
Okay.
Um, but the people that want to pay at the door, the price jumped from between 70 to 80 to 125. So I paid 125 for 3 days instead of 70 to 80 like most people. Uh,
Did you go all 3 days?
no, it was just cheaper that way, because if you're just getting day passes, it's somewhere between 50 to 80 just for one day.
Dang.
Yes, they have jacked up this price. And I also believe that that is because of a BC thing, because of before COVID and after COVID. So then, the other thing is, the convention itself was great. Lots of vendors, like always. Everything was fun. I thought that the celebrity exchange would be different because of COVID. That is still the same. You
Hmm.
can still walk up to your celebrities. You can still talk to them. It is faster moving, so I can't even say for sure if this was an Amy thing as to why I couldn't stand there and talk to her, or if it was a after COVID thing as to why they don't want people standing there all day, you know? And
Yeah.
so, but there was no separation between the guests. There was no separation of, you got to stand this far back in line. None of that. Like, everyone was all up on each other at this convention. And
Mm-mm.
and there was no one was policing that. You could do whatever you wanted to do. Still great costumes, everything like that. I would say the biggest difference between before COVID Awesome Con and after COVID, is the food. There was none. There was one
There used to be food. Oh,
there
go
was
ahead.
one location, and it's called the Burger Kitchen. They put this location in two separate places. These are the only locations on the floor for food. Um, the entire strip of food that they used to have, nothing. That entire section is empty. They don't even put tables and chairs out. Empty.
Jeez.
And you want food, they have food leading up to the convention in that long hallway leading up to the convention floor. But even that food is just like cold sandwiches, stuff that you would get at 7-Eleven type stuff. They didn't have hot food being made. Other
I remember they had like jerk food, like jerk chicken and all that other stuff, and
They used to have funnel cakes, they had boardwalk fries, they had different types of desserts, ice creams, cakes, they had the jerk chicken, they had macaroni and cheese. It was down the line. They had sub sandwiches, freshly made sub sandwiches. Not
yep,
none
yep.
of it. None of it exists anymore. It's literally just this burger joint, and the food for this burger joint completely overpriced, and it was disgusting. It takes a lot for me to say something was disgusting.
How do you mess up a
the
burger?
the, the burger was and I have to give them their credit. They had a Beyond Burger for those of us that don't eat beef. I love Beyond Burger. The burger itself wasn't that bad, but when you pair it up with an ice cold bun, fries that had no seasoning, and you go to put sauce on your burger, I went to go put barbecue sauce on my burger, and it was ketchup. So
The barbecue sauce came out as
yes.
ketchup.
So
Well, now that explains why Amy Jo was looking the way she was.
it was just bad, man. And like you can go to one line, and that was the line. That was the quickest line. The other kitchen place, I went to that place on day. The burger that I got that was cold and everything like that. That was from day two. I went to that burger joint because the other burger joint I went to the day before, and it took forever. After I paid, there was a crowd of us huddled over, and they were just like, did you have the tenders or did you have the burger? Wait, didn't we have a Beyond Burger? Wait, somebody got fries over here. What are you waiting for? And you're just like, oh my God, can I please? At some point in time, you're just like, I don't care.
What do you have right now? That's what I order. What do you
Like,
got right there?
whatever you
Yeah, I'll
got.
take the Beyond Burger. Yeah,
People were
I'll take it.
starving, man. And that's the thing about the convention. You would get so hungry that you were just like, I just gotta get something. And almost every one of these things, the tenders were $15, but everybody got tenders, so you're waiting around for tenders. So if you got a burger, that was about $20 for burgers and fries, for a burger and some fries.
Okay, so the question I would ask myself in this situation is, were you able to easily leave and come back and get something to eat?
Yes and no. So maybe other people were, but the thing about it is, I haven't been to a convention since before COVID. I did not realize that that's probably about 3 to 4 years ago when I was somewhere between 28 and 32. I am now 35. And I felt every bit of that 35 on that convention floor. And
Wow.
literally, I was taking breaks. I was sitting down. I told you I fell asleep at one point. I literally sat down up against the wall, held my bag, and I was out for about 45 minutes because literally everything hurt. So it was one of those where I was
Mm.
walking around, and so I was just like, yeah, I probably could get up there. You got to go up the escalator, go into the hallway to get one of their food things, which is not too far away, but it's so far away that you're just like, screw it. Let me just pay for this $20 burger.
So, but the other aspect of that, like, how big was AwesomeCon? Because it's a convention center. It's the one that's in DC. How big is the space? Or, because I remember when you and I did like a booth, and which, in my opinion, I think if anyone wants to go to AwesomeCon, you just save up the money and get a booth. That way, you can always go back to your booth to sit back and relax and do whatever. Bring your own food, put everything you need
Yep.
there, and then go back out again and do whatever, and even get your own Wi-Fi as well. Well, depending on the cost now, because if it costs that much just to get in the door, Lord knows what it would cost to get a booth. But for everyone to get an understanding, how big was the space and how much space did they take? Did they utilize all of it, or was it just like half the room and then that was it?
It was the Walter E. Washington Convention Center is humongous. It's
Hmm.
enormous, and the convention floor itself is pretty big. But when you add in the fact that There's a hotel attached to it. Going into AwesomeCon, you walk in the door of the convention center and you have about a 10 to 15-minute walk just to get to the floor. And you're going up escalators in certain areas and you're going down escalators in other areas just to get to the convention floor. It's humongous, but when you get down to the floor itself, that alone is incredibly huge. I would say it's the think about, there are certain people that have two-story malls, and there are certain people that have one mall, and what they'll do is they'll take the second floor and they'll stick it on the side, and so that makes up for the fact that, so where I live in Virginia, the closest mall is Potomac Mills Mall. Potomac Mills Mall has a 1 mile radius walking, if you walked around the outside of it. That's probably
Okay.
as big as the convention floor. It's ginormous, but like I said, because of the fact that they are not they are not doing the food vendors anymore. Because of the fact that the celebrities, there aren't as many of them as there normally are. I would say about 75% of it is being used.
All right. So 75% of it being used, which means 25% of it was not. Was it just like a? Does that mean that everybody was more spaced out, or did it mean like 75% of it is being used? Then you walk to a certain spot, usually nothing but open space and nothing
Nothing
there.
but open space. Everything is crowded into one area. The back right corner is nothing but celebrities, but that back left corner where they used to put the chairs and the tables and the food vendors is just blanked out. And you're just like, and that's the thing. They don't even put up tape to say you can't go over here or anything like that. You can easily just walk over there into empty space, and most people use that area to just sit down on the floor. And which I don't know why they just can't provide chairs, but whatever. They use that area to sit down on the floor and eat or whatever else they needed to do in that area. But yeah, they had this giant open space for nothing, and you're just like,
Mm.
it was poorly, the space was poorly used in my opinion. That could have been more money making. Now, not to crap on it the entire time, but to talk about at least one thing that I like that they did change. And to go back for a second, you were talking about internet. Yeah, $80 a day for internet, if you wanted to.
Because you have no signal there, right?
No, no. And the thing
Okay.
about it is, there are certain times that it would work. They did have access to. I think there was access to something. It had to have been because my stuff was working just fine. But on Friday, but on Saturday, when everyone was using whatever it was we were on, the service went down. And it went down when I was at a booth trying to take payment for something, and that lady had a crowd of people trying to get her stuff, and she couldn't even take payment.
Oh
Yep.
no, that's horrible for their
Yep. So
business.
she's just like, please don't leave. Oh God, please don't leave. Just stay right here. I'm gonna try to make this work. She couldn't take payment. I was trying to get a cash app from a friend of mine that wanted something from her booth, and I literally had to leave the booth. I went into the hallway upstairs, up flights of stairs to get to the hallway. Finally, the transfer went through, went back down onto the floor. Half of the stuff he wanted, someone else had bought in cash. So I couldn't even pay for, I couldn't even get everything that he wanted. And the service went down. So literally, she's just standing there going, I was like, all I got is card. And that was everyone else that was standing around. They were like, all we got is card. And she was just like, I'm going to get it back up. I'm going to get it back up. It's going to come back up. One of her friends, it was a booth full. She had two kids, and I don't know if they were her kids, but she had two kids that were working the booth as well as a group of her friends. And one of them, she was like, well, shoot, ain't nothing else to do. He puts on some party music and he starts twerking. That was just like, okay. He was just like, he was looking at us like, well, ain't nothing else to do. I'm just gonna sit here and twerk. And and we were just like, we just want to take this doggone payment. But yeah, no, but that's the beautiful thing about the people of the convention, the customers, and the booth, the vendors, is the fact that every single person stood there and waited until it was back up and running. And they,
That is amazing to hear that the people cared that much
yes,
and did that kind of
and not
showed that kind of
and
love
not
for a
to to
situation
to
like
to
that.
to, do race or anything like that, but this was a black lady, and she was just like, "Oh my God, like this would happen now. Everybody wants my stuff now, and I can't even take a payment."
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
all stood there and waited, so it was really great.
All right. Awesome Con seems like it was awesome in its own way, but had its disadvantages in others. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that because everyone's trying to figure out how to live in in an AC world after COVID. So I think I wish I had a gone. I'm gonna try and go next year, but
Yes,
I think I might just do a 1 day or depending on the money, I might just use this platform and we just do a live event and we just talk to people and have fun.
yeah.
Because like I said, I think it's easier to do a booth and just have a booth there, and then oh my gosh, man, if I can do a booth and then make a bunch of sandwiches, I think we may end up paying for the whole thing just for sandwich. Like this dude's got sandwiches and they're good. You guys need to go to his. And I'm like, yeah, $15 for a bologna sandwich.
But
Come on, bring out the money,
here's
people.
something you're gonna love though. Me and my brother Joe used to have a booth at Awesome Con, and when we had our booth, there was a huge discussion between us about whether or not we should play music, and if we do play music, should we be playing it through the speakers? Everywhere you turned, everyone had giant speakers, and they're blasting whatever they wanted to. There was no
Yes.
copyright. There was no nothing. Literally
No.
down this alleyway, all you heard was rap. Down that alleyway, it was R&B. Down this alleyway, it was rock music. If they had speakers, they were blasting it, and wasn't no one saying crap about it. Like literally, I think I think we
You
changed the
know who
game.
I want to smack right now?
I know,
I won't say any names, but you know who I want to smack
but
right now. I'm just
but
saying.
that's the greatest part.
I was right.
But that's the greatest part is that some of the people that were boothing there are people that have been boothing there since when you went back in the day. I think we changed the game unknowingly, and I will never get
We
that credit.
always
We'll
do.
never get that credit.
I'm gonna say we did, and everything got better because of us. That's just what I'm gonna go with. That's what I believe in my heart. But clearly, it seems like something that we definitely need to do. I'm going to check costs and figure that out because it's important. The because my nervousness is trying to do an awesome con at my age, and hearing you talk about how it was for your age, clearly I need to bring up a blow up mattress as well, and that way I can literally like, oh my gosh, can you imagine renting a big giant size booth and having mattresses there for people to take naps,
Yes.
and it's $20 for a 30-minute nap?
Why not? Because here's the thing. One of the booths was tattooing.
Yeah, okay, that
Right in
answers it.
it there
So
and then. People had their whole bodies out, just yeah, right there, right under, like literally doing tattoos. I was like, oh, this everything goes now.
yeah, everything goes now. It'd be TikTok booth. Do your TikToks in here. Oh my gosh, Jay, we're gonna have a great conversation. We're gonna spend some money, and I think we're gonna make 4 to 5 times as much
We
getting back.
will.
Sandwiches and naps, sandwiches, naps, and
That's
chairs.
all
Oh
you
my
need. Rent a
gosh.
chair. Rent a chair at Awesome
hmm
Con. Oh my God, people are gonna lose their mind if we did something like that.
I do the chairs, tables, and people can sit down and just eat. And what I've always said should be done, and I have yet to see it, and I don't know a way of doing it, but having a locker booth, so
Hmm.
you can put all your stuff in a locker, leave it there, know that it's safe, and keep shopping around and doing everything else you want to do while your hands are free. Then at the end of the day, you come back, and I give you your locker key, and then you literally grab all your stuff and you head on home.
Joe, that's ingenious. Ingenious.
I don't know why I'm saying this live because now someone's gonna
We're
steal
gonna
it,
wait and
but I'm
put
gonna
this
leave it
show
on the
up a little
locker.
late. No, just kidding. But
Yeah.
the only last tidbit that I had was the fact that not to make it about race again, but huge change, huge difference. You can throw a rock and hit a black vendor. Every other booth was African American vendors selling their stuff. So if you want to
Well,
support,
hold on, because My question, I don't want to cut you
No.
off, but it seems like it needs to be said. When you spoke to any of these vendors, were any of them outside of the DC, Virginia, Maryland area? Like, hey, we came all the way from Texas or we came from Chicago with this booth, or everybody was a local booth in your opinion?
Local to DC, Maryland, Virginia. Yeah,
Okay.
DC, Maryland, the
Because that
DMV.
would explain a little bit of it because I remember that some of these people like their booth is based upon the fact of I mean they do a booth and that helps their income for the whole year. It's like I do all this for the year, but then I go to this convention and this is where I make this big giant set of money. Like I pay for the booth, let's say the booth is $2,000 and then but I end up making $8,000. So I make $6,000 total and that's more than what I usually make in the next 2 months and that carries me on to the next awesome con or whatever vendor thing that's happening. But I think yeah, we need to start doing some interviews there. I my goal was to do all that. Here's the thing: the reason why y'all haven't seen us, I got supposed to go on a cruise, but got sick. Got on the cruise, got better, came back, got sick
Oh my
again.
god.
Like, when I say not sick, but the first time was, like, in pain, like, back trouble, all that other stuff or whatever. Came back from the cruise, was very sick, I mean, super sick, and to the point where I went to the doctor, and they were like, "We don't know what's wrong with you. Clearly, you're sick, and we're gonna give you a range of antibiotics, but it's not COVID, it's not flu, it's not something else they named, none of those things, but you clearly are very sick." And I mean, I was just sick. So, yeah, I stayed into a room to myself just to, like, recover and get myself together. I'm sick when I'm drinking tea. I'm drinking tea like 3 times a day and
Jeez.
drinking hot soup. So I was like,
Oh.
yeah, I'm not feeling good. So I know James was trying to do a show so we can keep it going, but I was out for 2 weeks out for the back 1 week, out for 2 weeks because I was on vacation, and then out for another 2 weeks because I was sick. And then on top of that, family friend passed away,
Oh.
so I went to a funeral. So it was just nonstop stuff. But it's good to be back. It's good to do a show, and there is so much information that's going on, and I know
Yes.
we concentrated most on Awesome Con, but David said he's here until 8:45, so we literally have 7 minutes. What I want to talk about is something that I'm not sure he knows about, but I want to discuss it. Microsoft is trying to acquire Activision,
I did
and
not hear
they're
this.
getting they're getting very close. I mean, they're literally in court because of the issues of them owning Activision. It's not small. If you own Activision, you own Call of Duty. So you own Call of Duty, that's the biggest money making thing ever. And you could decide, hey, Call of Duty is only now on Xbox, which they said they don't want to do because they're more of a platform multi thing out, but you got to pay a fee for certain things or whatever, which is brilliant. That their new strategy is that. Um, Sony, of course, is upset, and their response to well, the latest response is if you acquire them, if Activision, if you go ahead and let yourselves get bought, we can't tell you any of our specs on any of our future software because you work for Microsoft. So what usually happens is a person that's creating a game, they'll create the game, but they need to know everything about your platform so they know what they need to
Yeah.
do. But because they work for Microsoft now, technically, they can't know that information because then Microsoft has access to what the PlayStation future is. So whether it be a PlayStation 5 Pro, whether it be the PlayStation 6, 7, whatever, they'll never know until it actually comes out. And then they have to make the game based on that, which in my opinion hurts anyone that is a PlayStation player because now instead of you being able to know, okay, your game will be able to come out immediately. You're gonna see like Call of Duty out October for Xbox and February 2nd for
Yeah.
PlayStation. I'm like, that's gonna be a big issue. So Microsoft is acquiring a lot of entities to help build their business. And you can tell that it's now no longer about making the best Xbox
No.
console, it's about making the best gaming
Hmm.
experience. So for me, here's how I live my life when it comes to the consoles. PlayStation 5 I use to play the most best graphical game ever. So Last of Us, God of War, any of those types of games, I'm playing it on that. If I want to just chill, relax, and enjoy myself, I find myself on the Xbox because I use the Xbox Game Pass, download whatever game, play that for a while, relax and cool. And then when I want to play a Nintendo system, I'll do like the best of the best of the Nintendo Switch. So a good example, I'm playing Legend of Zelda right now, the new Legend of Zelda, and now side story, they're oh my gosh, they're redoing Super Mario RPG. Oh my
Really?
gosh, you remember that? I don't know if you remember
I
that game, but our brother
do.
Wayne played that game religiously, and now they're I mean, literally, they're just redoing it, so it's going to be the exact same game, just with the updated graphics and the updated way to play. But back to what I'm saying, as a person like you who is now using the Stream Deck not only to play your games but even to do what we're doing right now, Microsoft acquiring what it acquires, do you even care about that, or is that just more along the lines of, "Oh my gosh, this is big news and we need to do something about it"?
No, and that's the thing. And I've always asked that question about all of my friends that were PC gamers. I would be going through things, or I would be talking about things, and they would just be holding their tea or coffee, like, this sounds pretty awful for you. Uh, that's how I feel now because it's just literally none of that stuff touches me because I have a Steam Deck. Even the point to the games themselves, like if there's a popular game that's coming out, I really don't worry so much about it because I have access to so many games. And some of those games are top tier and incredible games because I feel like when you have a console, there's only a select group of games you're ever even going to hear about. And when you have a PC, you're scrolling for hours. And you're just like, oh my God, I didn't even know this is coming out. I didn't even know this is a thing. Or why don't they talk about this? Or what's going on with that? And as a PC gamer, you just have access to, you find yourself checking things out that you never would have checked out if you just had a console. And
Hmm.
some of those games and you will look at and other people will see and they're just like, why are you playing that rinky dink game? And you're just like, this doesn't have the graphics of this, this doesn't have that. But this person, this creator was able to capture the fact that a game should be fun. They were able to capture the fact that a game should be adventurous. They were able to capture something about it where I didn't need all the big graphics to enjoy it, to actually play it. And you find yourself, even the most hardcore gamer on a PC, you will find a couple of games on their system that are 2D, or you'll find a couple of games on the system that don't line up with hardcore gaming. And it's literally that's because they have that PC. So yes, I do care about it in terms of the fact that I think it's just very interesting to see what PlayStation and Microsoft are going to do. Sony and Microsoft are going to do to stay within that to stay relevant because that's always been my life growing up. I always had one of the two. So I'm interested in that. But in terms of whether or not it's going to affect my gaming, it won't.
Okay, I can hear that. Well, thank you, Javis, for doing the show with us. It's good to be back again. We'll try and do another show as soon as
Yes.
possible. But thank you all for tuning in. You know, we're going to post this online for people to actually watch whenever they want to. As always, I'm Javis. Oh, wow. That's how
Oh,
tired I am.
wow.
I'm Joseph. That's Javis. And I've never done that in my whole entire life, and I'll never do it again till episode 3000.
Yep.
All right. Y'all take it easy. Have a good one. Keep it locked and loaded, just like we do. Talk to you later.